Hello, everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of DSP versus the Internet, episode 79. We are currently in the Ultra member submissions. Let's continue to watch those and see what's next. Here we go.
Oh, boy.
Deputies save elk from a tree
September
swing.
1st, our deputies went to an injured animal call, and when they were going, they thought that they might have to put this animal down. But when they got there, what they ended up doing was much more heroic and brave. Take a look.
Oh, boy.
That's sad when an animal gets inadvertently, like, trapped somewhere. Like, I see animals get trapped in, like, a sewer tube, right? Like, oh, my God, it's so sad. The animal didn't know what was going on. And now you gotta, like, put it down because it's gonna get stuck in there and slowly emaciate away or die. Like, oh, it's so depressing.
I did get a hold of somebody.
Let's go check it out.
Yeah.
This is from a year ago. This was no, September 1st, 2023 was the date. Oh, man, look at this. It got its antler stuck in a tree swing.
Boy.
First of all, I will say this. I mean, I get it. Okay, you want to have a swing out in the woods and your kids go out there and play, but you gotta understand there's wild animals out there. Couldn't you put the tree swing near your fucking house? Why do you gotta put it out in the woods where you know wild animals could have interaction with it? I think it's kind of dumb, right? Like, why couldn't you just do this closer? Because animals aren't gonna go near humans, but you purposely put this tree swing out in the woods where you know that these animals are gonna be. That was kind of stupid.
Boy, Chad.
Oh, this poor thing.
It's okay, buddy.
They gotta calm him down, but they can try to unhook him, because if they don't, he's gonna get all panicked. He's probably gonna try to run or attack. Poor thing. I mean, the good news is it's only stuck on his antler, and antlers can break off and it's perfectly fine. You know, they fight all the time, and the antlers get stuck and stuff. So even if both antlers ripped off, this probably would still be alright. But obviously that's not ideal. What they need to do is just cut the rope. But how do you get him to not freak out? See, he's already freaking out. See, he's panting. See his mouth? So he's probably been at this for hours trying to figure out how to, you know, do it, how to get himself unhooked. And he just keeps hooking himself worse.
Give me a second, partner.
Poor guy.
Gotta give me a second here.
I think this is dangerous. Very dangerous because his antlers are so sharp.
Easy, boy.
Impaled by that thing.
Easy.
Be careful. You got clippers. They just gotta get to the rope without alerting the deer. Oh.
He was able to let me get up and actually touch the white rope. I mean, it's...
I've never encountered a moose before. I've never seen a moose. I've seen wild deer. I never approached them, but I've seen them in the distance.
Easy.
Oh, so he's trying to get it. He's moving. Get it?
Easy, boy.
Hard to see. He swore. He's like, shit. Fucking thing. Piece of shit.
Yeah, Chad, there's one.
That's working.
It's slowly working, Chad.
Oh!
If I could just get the one
Did he get
more.
it? He got... Okay.
Trying to keep him between me and the tree.
I mean,
keep the tree
if he
between
could
me
cut
and
the
him.
rope, at least, even if the rope is stuck on his antlers forever, that's not bad or anything, as long as they don't get caught on something else later. Ideally, you want to get the whole rope off the antler, but I don't know how he's going to do that. He charged him! He charged him.
Yeah,
Yes, he did. But, I mean, you can't blame him. He doesn't know what's going on. Is he free? Otherwise, he's going to charge him immediately. Oh, God, he probably got him, dude. He definitely got stuck.
Alright? Yeah, I'm good. Alright.
Hopefully he's not bleeding. Poor guy. Oh my God. They did it? Yeah, they got it. Nice. Nice, nice, nice.
I know we could have used a tranquilizer.
Ugh. Anyway, Andy just gifted 5 memberships to the React community here. Thank you so much, Andy, for supporting the channel. I appreciate that, Andy. I hope everyone enjoys their gifted memberships. You get access to my emotes, and you don't have to do slow mode anymore. You can actually talk as much as you want in chat. And my archive streams, you get access to right away. Everyone else who's not a member has to wait for the videos to come out slowly over the week, but you get to watch these archive streams right away. So there's a lot of benefits to being a member. Okay. Let's continue with the next clip. That was good. Good on those officers for being so brave and doing that and risking, harm. The guy almost got, freaking gored there.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh,
My name is Pastor Dr.
So we saw this guy last week, right? We saw this guy last week. He goes on a talk show with someone who, is, I believe, I actually don't even know. I don't know if the person was a homosexual or was, trans. I have no idea. But the guy was nuts. He went on the show and he started pulling out like vegetables. Like, they put this inside of them. They put this inside of this. Like, this is a TV show. This is how this guy was acting. So here we go. What's this going to be now?
Martin Semper. I'm here in the capacity as the chairman of the National Task Force Against Homosexuality in Uganda.
Oh, boy.
We are making legislation to make sure that sodomy and
Barack Obama back off? What? Something about sodomy. I can't read it.
homosexuality never sees the light of legality in this land of the Pearl of Africa. I've taken time to do a little research to know what homosexuals do in the privacy of their bedroom.
Oh my
One
God.
of the things they do is called anal leaking, where a man's anus is leaked like this by the other person, like ice cream. And then what happens, even...
He said like ice cream. Oh. He said like ice cream. Oh.
poo-poo comes out, the other poo-poo's out, huh? And then they eat the poo-poo.
Oh. Oh. Oh, it's gross, but it's funny that he's doing this at a fucking press conference. I called this press conference to tell you how we eat the poo-poo. Oh. Spike Vincent, I'm sorry. He says, I'm eating right now. This is foul. I did not submit the clip. This was submitted by an Ultra member who obviously finds this guy funny. He eats the poo-poo.
The other one they do is they have a sex practice called fisting, where they insert their hand into the other man's hand, and it goes into the anus all the way. And it is so painful, they have to take drugs, but they enjoy it. Now, if we have any children, please step out. This is a parental guidance moment. That child can be moved out. So I've done research. This is what they do. Number one, you can see a
Oh my
here,
God, he's showing it to them.
exactly
They had to
other
blur it
person's
out.
rectum,
They had
and
to
the
blur
other
it
person
out.
is poo-pooing, and this one is eating the poo-poo all over the place.
Oh. Oh. I mean, the guy does his research, right? He came in with the receipts. He's like, no, I know what we are going to show today. I've researched very, very, very many hours. And I have it all right here on this laptop that the government will not seize from me and find anything on else. Oh my God. Holy shit. How many views does this video have? 746,000 views. Eat the poo-poo. That is interesting. I think we're going to go to the next one. All right? I think I've had enough of eating with the poo-poo. Okay.
Capcom episode like less than a month ago, but this is Fighting Evolution, possibly Capcom's worst internally developed fighting game.
Why is the volume so low on this guy's video? Dude, this stable volume doesn't work at all. This stable volume does not work in any way, shape, or form. I have it on, and every video is a different volume level. Like, none of them are the same. So what is the point of this? How much you want to bet if I uncheck this, the volume will be better? Okay, let's see what happens. Ready?
Ever. It was such.
It did get better. The volume went up. You heard that, right? What? YouTube is a feature that's supposed to keep all the audio stable in videos, and when you enable it, it makes the audio not stable, and it got better.
Such a disaster
I can hear
every
it better.
which way that for a while it seemed like it was going to be the last pugilistic project the company would ever greenlight. And I can't let that slide, and have been itching to talk about this absolute cluster ever since I started this show. Not sure if you guys remember, but the turn of the century was a particularly rough time for fighting games.
Yes,
and all
it
of
was.
the punches, 10 strings, and anti-airs didn't really prevent that. While Capcom diversified their lineup with survival horror and
All right, let's
action
skip
games,
ahead.
One, fight!
Here we go.
when Tanabe and the rest of the SNK refugees entered the Osaka offices of Capsule Computers, they did feel out of place in the company that had essentially been their rival for a number of years. When we joined Capcom, there were two plans put forward for
Hold on, because you put subtitles on the screen, so now that we can't have subtitles over subtitles. Okay.
the kind of game we would develop. We had a lot of people on our team with experience developing fighting games, so our first idea was to make our own fighting game. However, creating a fighting game from scratch with a new gameplay system would have been very time consuming, and as a new team at Capcom, we felt we had to contribute something to the company as quickly as possible.
So what he's saying is, at the turn of the century, SNK was on the downturn. SNK was the rival to Capcom for making fighting games. SNK made Fatal Fury, Art of Fighting, and the King of Fighters series. And others like Samurai Showdown, while Capcom was Street Fighter and the Versus series. So people who were working for SNK essentially left SNK and went to work for Capcom. And I guess they're saying this game, Capcom Fighting, what is this called? Capcom Fighting Evolution. This was their first game that they made as members of Capcom.
So instead, we went with our second idea, which was to use Capcom's pre-existing assets as the foundation for a new project. That's how Capcom Fighting All-Stars development began.
Now, here's the thing. This is not the first time that this happened, okay, at all. They already did this for the Versus series. For example, in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, a lot of the characters are just sprited characters from other games already, and they just added them in. Like MVC2 has like Darkstalkers characters that were just sprited right in. So it's not their first tango doing this. The problem is they've been doing this for like 10 games now. Like the Street Fighter Alpha series did it. Then the Versus series did it. Capcom vs. SNK had it to some extent. This is like the 4th series in a row where Capcom's like, we're just going to reuse the same sprites again from other games. It's like at one point you're going to get tired of the same fucking sprites, right? Keep in mind, those sprites probably looked good in like 1996, but now it's the early 2000s and people are expecting better quality. Like Street Fighter 3 had come out and had much better quality sprites. So why are we still reusing these sprites that are ancient, right? So people already, their first impression of the game is, all they do is copy paste from another fucking game. It looks like shit. We wanted new stuff. You can't even give us new artwork.
Yoshiki Okamoto, a big Capcom producer at the time,
Why did they have to use this picture of him? He looks like he's down on his luck. He's depressed. There's liquor behind him. He's wearing a shitty Abercrombie shirt that's pink. Looks like he threw it was supposed to be white. He threw it in with reds and it dyed pink. That's a pretty bad picture of him.
also presented the former SNKers with another opportunity to work on an action game of unclear origin. It was either DMC2 or Chaos Legion, or they could just push forward with a fighting game project. Those pre-existing assets Tanabe mentioned earlier, those were the scraps of what had been Capcom vs. SNK 3. Apparently, that had started life as a 3D project, with actual models having been made. But since SNK had gone belly up, and the rights to their characters and franchises were at that time very much in flux, the work was just sitting there, unused.
Oh, wow.
Tanabe
I
was
didn't know
made the
that.
director, and decided that the best way to make something quickly was to opt for a Capcom vs. Capcom style slugfest, plucking several characters from not just their fighting games like Ryu, Morgan, and Batsu, but a few unexpected picks like Hagar, Poison, and Strider Hiryu. To explain this wild mashup that was more or less sticking to canon, unlike prior versions.
Wait, did this exist? I never even know about this game. Did it ever come out? What game is he talking about?
Versus games, it would take place in a metro city that was under threat of exploding by a bomb known as Laughter Sun. A plot literally orchestrated by death. 3 particular characters, however, all OCs do not steal, had a piece of a code that, when combined, would disarm said Laughter Sun and pretty much save the day. These 3 characters would logically be known as the Code Holders, the game's sometimes used but always.
Did this ever come out? Capcom Fighting All-Stars? I'm not even aware of this game. I didn't even know this game existed if it actually released.
Derided subtitle. Now, technically, this would be the first traditional 3D fighting game developed by Capcom that was using Street Fighter characters, as the EX series was made by Akira. So there was
actually, it's Eureka, not Akira. He said it wrong.
Obviously going to be some growing pains. This is doubly true because the majority of the team was composed of ex-SNK staff, after all, who up to that point had barely touched 3D programming and design, while Capcom had branched out in this way with
rival schools united by fate. This was actually a pretty interesting game series. There were 2 of them. It was a team-based fighter series where you were students at high school or teachers beating the shit out of each other. There was like a sports team versus like a preppy team versus like a martial arts team versus like the school fucking like faculty. It was a pretty weird game, but it was good. It had great music.
Other new fighting franchises, like your rival schools or your Power Stones, there was some hesitancy on how to approach a game like this, to do Street Fighter and Darkstalkers justice in a brand new dimension. Since Tanabe had been appointed director, he and his team felt it best to do something unique. So they expanded on the story,
I don't remember this game
Street
at all.
Fighter had shied away from at this time. They created 4 brand new characters that were designed to be a bit more stylish, i.e. SNK as shit, and then they wanted it to be more dramatic. And they instituted a few new systems. The first, appropriately called Dramatic Counter, functioned a lot like Tekken 7. Where the action would slow down to highlight whenever a character dodged, then counterattacked. Next was Declaration of Victory, a special taunt that one could choose to invoke before a match. If they then went on to win that first round, then the entire match victory point would be awarded to them. Certainly
Alright, did the game ever come out? They're not just gabbing about the features of the game. Did it come out?
Triggered at the end of a match, and while not graphically violent, location to gather fan feedback. By this point, almost a year and a half, the game had mostly been finished, although it still needed fine-tuning, extra characters, and a translation pass. Unfortunately, the location testing did not go so well, as many players came away unimpressed by All-Stars from both a visual and gameplay standpoint. The game didn't look very advanced when compared to the newest Tekken or Virtua Fighter. The original characters stuck out like sore thumbs when placed against Capcom's most iconic.
They don't look her Ingrid looks nothing like a Street Fighter character. She looks like a knockoff Karen who already existed. Karen was already in alpha. So why the hell did they add like a second of the same character, right?
And the gameplay was singled out as feeling a bit awkward and not in line with what most people expected or wanted. These tests went so poorly, even in Japan, that the fate of the entire game was hanging in the balance back at—
That's just crazy. They put all the effort into the game and then they canceled it because it didn't come out, right? I never played this, never heard of it. Here we go. See here.
Interview recalled this time at the company. You know Resident Evil, right? The people who had started that project wanted to challenge themselves. The old way of doing things was no longer working. I think they wanted to find a new style, a new way forward, and it did provide some hints to the company's direction in a number of different ways. I think there were also people in the lower levels of the staff saying that Street Fighter is no longer selling, so we want to make something else that's not a fighting game. The Street Fighter Alpha series had been going on for a while and everyone was bored of that, so I think this felt like the moment to try something new, to go after a new challenge. Noritaka Funamizu, Capcom general producer, was also a big fan of Animal Crossing, so I think he wanted to make something similar to Animal Crossing, which in some way or another actually wound up becoming Monster Hunter.
Something like Animal Crossing became Monster Hunter. I'd like to see a documentary on that one. How the hell did an Animal Crossing game become like Monster Hunter? All right, let's fast forward to the real game. Here it is, Capcom Fighting Evolution. Because this is the game he's trying to talk about here.
The entire concept was eventually cut. Try to act surprised, as there simply wasn't any time or budget left for it. These restrictions also affected the core gameplay, as each faction of characters played like the
Well, just look how shitty this is. So that's Sakura from Street Fighter Alpha 2. It's literally the same sprites from Street Fighter Alpha 2. That was like 1997 or something like that, right? That's a sprite from Warzard. That also was a game from like the late 90s. So these are old as fuck sprites. And they're pixelated. They don't look good at all. Look, the background looks so much better than the sprites in the foreground.
games
What
they
the hell?
hailed from. So Third Strike Chun-Li could parry, but Street Fighter II Ryu could not, no matter what. There weren't even any modes or groups.
Yeah, take a look. So Ryu, Guile, Zangief, and Bison are from Street Fighter 2. Alex, Chun-Li, Yoon, and Yuri are Street Fighter 3. Felicia, Dimitri, Jeddah, and Anakar are Darkstalkers. You have 4 Street Fighter Alpha characters. Karen's in it, but then there's Ingrid, who looks just like fucking Karen. And it wasn't Warzard, it was Red Earth. Actually, isn't it the same? Red Earth, Warzard? I think it is. The characters from Red Earth. And then 2 random characters, Ingrid and fucking Pyron, who is the boss, right?
Grooves to select from, so you couldn't mix and match each style, which left the entire
Look
roster.
how terrible it looks. I mean, I'm not even kidding you. The background character sprites look better than the fucking characters in the foreground. Look how pixelated Zangief is.
Stupidly unbalanced, and not in a fun Jackie Chan Fists of Fire way, but instead in a lame, unfun Capcom Fighting Evolution way. Balancing can sometimes be the most arduous and time-consuming thing when working on a fighting game, so it's not shocking there's none here. The ultimate indicator that the game was rushed, however, has to be its background. In the CVS games, whether they were 2D or 3D, the stages that set the tone for each bout were incredibly imaginative and detailed, but that was worlds away from what was on display here. Simple, static images, some of which might be just actual photos of real places, with barely a hint of animation, proudly displayed character art ripped from completely random sources.
Yep, you can see this. It's all their pre-existing art. They copy-pasted it into the background. Holy shit. Like 0 effort. And by the way, for the record, the game played like shit. Jeddah, I think Jeddah was the best character. And there was just like only like 3 characters that were actually good in the entire game. Every other character was like shitty. So if anyone picked one of the top tier characters, you might as well not even play the game because they're just going to kick your ass. You had no chance. It sucked. I tried to play with the dinosaur. I liked the dinosaur, but he just wasn't good. So you're working your ass off to get hits and combos while Jeddah just stands there fucking throwing blades the entire time. You can't even get to him. Very frustrating. So it's a bad game. It really was. It was a terrible game. It's a shame because really this was the game that retired fighting games for Capcom. After this, they didn't make another one until Street Fighter 4. And that was nearly a decade later. So yeah, it tanked all the Capcom fighting department basically. Let's see. What the hell? The next clip is 19 seconds long. Well, let's do that before we split the part then. What the heck? 19 seconds? Let's see what it is. Ready?
Alright, so here we are in front of the elephants.
Now I can't hear this one either. What the fuck? What happens if I hit stable volume? This is the best quality.
Alright, so here we are in front of the elephants. The cool thing about these guys is that they have really, really long trunks, and that's cool. And that's pretty much all there is to say.
That's it? That was it? That was the whole clip? Hold on. Meet me at the zoo. From Jawed.
Alright, so here we
331 million views? From Jawed. Oh! We're so honored the first ever YouTube video was filmed here. This is the first ever YouTube video. That's why. This was the YouTube. Okay, yeah, this is the first ever YouTube upload to test the site. That's why it's 19 years old. Okay. I get it. That's interesting. I had never seen that. I didn't even know that existed. Right? 19 years. So it's one of the oldest ever. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying DSP versus the Internet episode 79. When we come back, we have 2 more Ultra Member videos to get through. And then we will jump into the randomized playlist of the submissions tier. So I thank you all for being here and hanging out with me. And I'll see you in part 3.